Hi everyone, welcome to another video on blue-white familiars in Pauper. Today we have a little bit of a twist. We're not just blue-white, we're going to be splashing red. Here we're splashing red for Red Elemental Blast and Gorilla Shaman. What I had found was that blue-white familiars really struggles against Affinity, and Gorilla Shaman is the best hoser that I can find, so we're going to bring that in. In order to do this, we're using some karoos, or the bounce lands. We have Is It Boilerworks and Azorius Chancery, and because we're using 4 bounce lands, I decided to bring in Mnemonic Wall for some snap shenanigans, and these bounce lands and Mnemonic Wall together can help us play Stonehorn Dignitaries pretty easily. So we're set up with 4 Red Elemental Blast just in case you run into Tron, and also to fight the Delver meta that we're seeing, and we have 2 Gorilla Shamans and 1 Nature's Chant to fight Affinity. In general, the rest of the deck is pretty much the same as before. I have 7 islands, I have 6 fetches, 1 plains, 1 mountain, just 2 Mystic Sanctuaries, and 2 Mnemonic Walls. With 2 of each, I actually have 4 ways to recur spells, so we shouldn't be lacking there. I've got 5 cantrips, 4 Preordain, 1 Ponder. The Godfarrow's Faithfuls to keep me alive. We got snaps for value. We have 3 prohibits, 4 Seagate Oracles, 1 Sage's Road Denizen for the finisher combo, 3 Ghostly Flickers, 4 Mole Drifters, and 4 Deep Analysis. Here we can see that there's 4 Chanceries and 4 bounce lands and 4 snaps, it helps us actually accelerate into our Deep Analysis a lot easier. For the sideboard today, we are working on 3 Stonehorn Dignitaries for any combat-based decks. We have 1 Negate, 1 Dispel, 3 Blue Elemental Blast to hopefully help stop burn, and I already went over the 4 Red Blast, 2 Gorilla Shaman, and 1 Nature's Chant. So I had quite a good run here, looking at 2 5-0s back-to-back, so let's kind of go through those. Alright, match 1 we're up against Ocean Soul, who's in the past been on Blue-Black Delver. I'm going to go ahead and keep Preordain, keeping my Evolving Wilds, and putting back my Mole Drifter. I've already got one. They lead on Darksteel Citadel, so we know this is an Affinity matchup. I'm going to get my white mana as fast as possible. Here I'm going to go ahead and play a Seagate Oracle. So in Affinity matches, we really need as much life as possible. I'm grabbing the Godfarrow's Faithful. Opponent leads on Gearseeker Serpent, which is actually quite good for us here because we can use our double karoos for extra value. I'm going to go ahead and tap both, play the Boilerworks, pick up the island, snap the Seeker, and play my Mole Drifter. I'll play my Mnemonic Wall, getting back snap. I know they're going to replay it, and then I can snap it and play the Mole Drifter next turn along with the Faithful. So here I can play Mnemonic Wall, get back snap again, snap their other guy, and swing in. I'm just gonna play my Faithful and then get back some spells. I went for the extra so I could have my snap combo, but they killed one of my walls, so I just got back my Ghostly Flicker. Opponent's dropping more creatures. They've got their Atog out, so I'm just probably going to play out my Mole Drifter. Opponent's swinging in. Here, since I have an extra Mole Drifter, I'm gonna block. So I rip a Faithful, so I'm going to start dropping those and cantripping. Definitely want the Sunscape and the Sanctuary. I'll play my Mole Drifter, or I'll hold up my Flicker just in case. Trying to play conservatively. Here I'm going to try and gain a lot of life, so I'm going to block, flicker Mnemonic Wall and Island, and then I'll flicker again, so that gives me double. My plan here was to block both and then see what they do on the first flicker. Okay, so they don't have a response. I can flicker my guys again. Alright, so our Mystic Sanctuary put back the snap, and now we're leading into a bit of an infinite combo for removing their creatures. So Muldrifter draws a snap. We can snap their dude. We'll just draw the flick. We'll get the flicker going. But here we can. Let's see if I do it. All right, I did not. So what's going to happen is we can use the snap for 1 mana. That'll untap Chancery and Sanctuary. Then I can tap this for 2 and 1, flicker the Muldrifter, or flicker the Mnemonic Wall and the Sanctuary. So Sanctuary comes back untapped, and then I have 2 mana again, and then I can snap again, and then flicker, and then snap and flicker, and that gives me an infinite flicker combo. So here I go, snapping their guys. That's okay. Basically, we're trying to draw them out of removal as much as possible. I'm going to block with my, I'm going to chump with my Faithful to try to maintain as much life as I can. They decided to kill my wall. So here I'm going to get back a Preordain. Next turn I need to draw into some action. They're going to start beating me down. They've got their Togs. Decide not to. So I see Seagate Oracle. Seagate Oracle draws me Deep Analysis. So here we're just trying to get as much out as we can. We're pretty much going to be dead to Fling, but they already used one, so I'll just double chump. Alright, so luckily we Preordain into a Muldrifter. Mystic Sanctuary gets back Ghostly Flicker, and that's the game. Let's see. Flicker the Sanctuary and the Island. And now we have 2 flickers, so we can actually get all of our spells back as much as we want. So I'm going to double flicker to get back flicker and snap. Flicker the Muldrifter. Flicker it again. And the opponent's going to concede here. So they realize that I can just get rid of their board once again and then outvalue them. Okay, here we're bringing out a Sagro Denizen and 4 deep analysis. I don't really know why I sideboarded this way, but I guess we're experimenting here. I brought in 2 Gorilla Shaman, and I guess that's it. Let's see. Okay, there's my Gorilla Shaman, so this is really good for us. I'm going to immediately fetch the red. I know this is a little bit aggro, but Gorilla Shaman can eat their land, and they kill it right away. That probably was a little bit too pushy on the Gorilla Shaman. I'll pair down into a Familiar, and now I'm dropping my Chancery. I'll bin the Mountain since I already have a red source. They play a Tog, but I can prohibit it, which is really lucky at that point. Ponder into a Snap. Snap their guy, and then I'm going to play my wall and get back a Preordain. So here, I'm just basically trying to go shields up. Mirror Enforcer, I see just lands, I gotta bin those. Muldrifter is great. So we can get 3 Sunscapes out and draw another Drifter, or play the Drifter and then draw Flicker Snap. So soon we'll have the Infinite Snap combo, but we don't right now because this Sanctuary is not online. I'm going to Stonehorn and start bashing. Go for the Flicker. Opponent. Okay, so I went for the Flicker on the wall and the Muldrifter. They go to blast the wall, and I'll just snap it. So even though my Flicker is going to go to the yard, I'll be able to buy it back, and my Drifter's still going to draw some cards. They try to draw a Dispel, but they do not, so they concede. Alright, game 2 versus Top Grinder. They're well known, and they're leading off with a Mountain Mod Conscript, so now we know for sure this is red deck wins. We don't have a lot going on to stop them this game. Burning Tree into a Mud Brawler is really bad for us. Here I'm going to just try to leave up snaps and prohibits. They play a Mud Brawler, and what I'm going to do is snap their other Mud Brawler and then prohibit this here to try to use as much mana as possible of theirs. They're swinging in for 4. I'll play here. I'd go for the Sage's Rodenizen because it has 2 power. So if they attack, I can, and they don't have something to remove this, I can block their guy and kill it. They have Lightning Bolt, so they're swinging in for 2. That wasn't a bad tempo play because they couldn't play another creature. They could only just get in for 2 there. Play a Seagate Oracle, and I'll draw into the Drifter. They're getting in for 6, and I have nothing, so I concede. Okay, game 2, I'm removing Deep Analysis by 4 Deep Analysis, a Snap, and a Sage's Rodenizen. I'm bringing in 3 Red Blast. Let me look at. For sure, 3 Red Blast and 3 Stonehorns. We have a pretty good hand. It's action light, but we have all of our colors, and we have Stonehorn Dignitary and God Pharaoh's Faithful. So I'm going to immediately fetch, go land, fetch a Plains. I've got nothing going on there, so I'll just fetch again. I didn't really want to run out the God Pharaoh's Faithful with nothing to do, but we'll block. Stonehorn, buy some time. Opponent is a bit land light. I'm going to play a Drifter. They play Burning Tree, so I'm just going to block everything. Sacrifice my Drifter, no problem. And then I have a backup Mnemonic Wall to get back my Ghostly Flicker, so I'll Flicker here and then play Seagate. I'll put Flicker on top, play Seagate, and get Flicker. Alright, so here I'm going to be playing Seagate to get back the Flicker, and the next turn I can Mnemonic Wall and just keep flickering them out of the game. Alright, game 3. This is pretty good. I'll lead on Evolving Wilds, get an island, and then turn 2 I can go God Pharaoh's Faithful, Preordain. So I drew another Faithful, which makes me want to just dump the first Faithful down. If they can't remove it this turn, I've got a good block. Okay, so that Sparksmith is pretty bad because if they can get rid of my life gain, I'm in a very bad spot. Even their life total doesn't matter to them very much because I'm definitely not attacking. Here they go for an attack, and I'm not going to block. They have 2 goblins, so they would have been able to kill my guy. And I can just draw another Faithful, Preordain. Preordain gives me a blue Elemental Blast, which is perfect here, and I can kill the Sparksmith. Now I'm down to just block everything. Block all the 3/2s, and they kill one with a Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning. I'll try to fetch out as much as possible to the end of the deck, and they keep attacking. I'll block his whatever, and then they kill my guy again. But luckily I get to draw a Stonehorn Dignitary here, so I'll just play Chancery, pick up my planes, and then next turn I can start playing my Mnemonic Wall and hopefully getting some value. I'll Mnemonic Wall and get a Preordain. Preordain's going to see 2 lands I don't really want, so we get back a Sanctuary. We're at 21 life, which is good, but they are dealing, and now they're completely hellbent, so if I can get something good going, they're out of this game. I Sanctuary to get back a blue Elemental Blast, and I will get back a Preordain. Put Flicker on top. And I think at this point they concede, but basically we have our Blue Blast, we have our Flicker, we can just keep getting back our Blue Blast and killing their creatures, and they can't really do very much about it. Okay. Let's see. It keeps going. No, I think that's it. Alright. 2 down. We're on the play. We don't have any white sources, but we have 3 mana, so I'm going to keep this. I don't really know what we're up against. And now we know we're up against some sort of blue Delver deck. We don't know if it's blue-red, blue-white, mono-blue. I'm bottoming both to try to draw into a plains. And they don't flip their Delver. Now we need to be aware of Spellstutter Sprites, but luckily we have a 3 mana play. We play it, they don't have a counterspell, and I draw into a Chancery, which is perfect. Still no flip, and now we know it's blue-red Delver. Looks like they're holding up. Nope. Okay, they're gonna drop an Augur Boros. So now I have free reign on my turn if I can do something. I'm gonna drop the Sage's Row Denizen because it's good blocker, and then it can deal with their Mystic Sanctuary loops potentially. And just hold out. They flip the Delver on a Preordain and Preordain. And then I end up playing a Sunscape Familiar with Prohibit backup, but they don't have a response. So still just holding. They go for the Scred. I'm going to flicker these 2 guys in response. I don't really want to prohibit the Scred because if they... Well, I wanted to try to get value here and then see if they'll counter, and then I'll counter back. I guess the order doesn't matter, but I have Prohibit and Ghostly Flicker. Ah, yes, because they showed me Dispel. So I played around that. They're getting in. Alright, so I decide to lead on a Preordain to try to draw the Spellstutter Sprite out so that I can play Godpharaoh's Faithful into Mnemonic Wall. They don't have response for the Godpharaoh's Faithful, so I can play Mnemonic Wall, get back Ghostly Flicker. I'm going to go ahead and poke in. They kill my Mnemonic Wall, but it's not that big of a deal. Now this ninja picking up a Spellstutter Sprite's a problem for me. I find a Sanctuary, which is great. I'm going to Deep Analysis, try to draw some cards, see what I can do to get out of this Spellstutter Sprite problem. Okay, so now I can Sanctuary, get back Prohibit, Deep Analysis, grab the Prohibit, play the Faithful with Prohibit backup. I'll just, okay, or just Faithful. Oh boy. Oh no, because the Sanctuary couldn't have come in this turn. That's why. That makes more sense. I draw into another Faithful, so that's good. And here I decide, I believe, okay, we don't Deep Analysis that turn. Oh, the replay's breaking again. Okay, there we go. Opponent decides to not get in. I think they might have misclicked there. So now we have our Sanctuary. Alright, looks like the replay has broken. Basically, in this matchup, as long as you have a bunch of Faithfuls, you can continue to gain life and not let them beat you down enough. Their 1/1s and their 3/2 flyer is a problem, but their 1/1s aren't really enough to get through your Faithful life gains. Alright, on to game 2. Hopefully this one will play out better. So here I am taking out Seagate, Sage's Row Denizen, and a Snap, and I'm bringing in 3 of my red Elemental Blasts. We have a red blast in hand. We have a island. They lead with no play, or Delver. So I'm just gonna go ahead and blast it right away. I don't want them to get in with it. They don't have a turn 2 creature, so I'm just holding up a Prohibit here. I'll cycle for a Plains, for an island, so that I can ponder and then prohibit their Spellstutter Sprite. I've got extra Prohibits in hand. I see a Plains, which is awesome. Okay, they relic me. I'm going to go ahead and play Familiar. Now I have Snap plus Prohibit. I'm not going to fight over the removal that they're using on my Familiars because I have extras and I don't need that many to win. I want to be able to use my counterspells to counter Spellstutter Sprites if at all possible. Still not going to do anything. They're stuck on lands. We draw into a Deep Analysis, so I'll just play it and flash it back immediately. A Tragic Lesson, having to discard a land. They're just still holding on. I'm going to Sanctuary to get back Red Blast. They decide not to not to crack the relic, which is fine. So we just wait now. See what they do. They're getting back Tragic Lesson. That's probably why they didn't want to crack the relic. So now I can Deep Analysis with Flashback. Got quite a few cards in hand, so I can start binning my fetch lands. And I've been the Snap because it's not super helpful here. I'll Preordain, draw the Snap, play a Seagate, see if they start doing anything. They're going to go for the Tragic Lesson, so I'll just Red Blast it. They Red Blast a response, and I have a Prohibit. So now they're just down to 2 cards. I'll grab the Muldrifter and snap my guy and replay him. I'll snap him and hold up Red Elemental Blast. They have to crack the relic because they're so far down on cards. They play a Fairy Seer, which I'm not going to counter. I'll play Muldrifter. Counterspell eats a Red Blast. They don't have the Sprite in hand, so that's pretty much the game here. We'll go ahead and play our Faithful because we know that it's free. Augur of Boros doesn't find anything, and they're in a very bad spot. We're going to play a Seagate, getting a Familiar, play another Seagate, trying to hold up my interaction here. grab my second familiar. So now, once I draw a flicker, the game's going to be over. I still don't have to attack. I'm mostly trying to hold up blockers so that they have no options to ninja. See what they're doing. They reveal a counter spell. So we have Red Blast in hand. Muldrifter evoke. I'll snap the Muldrifter and then play it again. On the mnemonic wall. Okay, so they counterspell my mnemonic wall. I'll Red Blast in response. I still have my prohibit up. I'll get back the Red Blast. And now I'll play a Muldrifter. So just holding up my interaction. I have a blocker in the air, so I'm going to start beating in. That doesn't... Okay, so they go to Lightning Bolt my Muldrifter, I'll counter it, and they've seen enough. Concede game. Alright, this match is interesting. It's kind of an off-meta deck. I'm definitely going to keep this. I've got a turn 2 Faithful. They lead with an island, which could be anything. Fairy Miscreant. So now I'm thinking this is Mono Blue Delver. So then they lead with a second island of a different type. So I'm like, okay, so they're playing something sneaky. They're trying to tilt out the opponents. I'm going to grab a Plains here and immediately drop a... Well, I'll grab an island. Plains, okay. Faithful, play the island, and hold up my fetch. Really, right now I'm on the lookout for Spellstutter sprites, but they play a Slitherblade. So now I'm thinking, what the heck is going on here? I figure that this is probably the Mono Blue Stompy deck. I think it looks like a slightly different build of it. If it is Mono Blue Stompy, I'm not expecting them to have a Spellstutter sprite, but they have 2 fairies already, so my Seagate Oracle is going to get eaten. I don't really have any options, I have to play it. And they do have a Spellstutter sprite, which is quite bad. If I'd been able to draw a land there, I could have been in a good spot, but now they have a ninja, and they draw a card, and game over. So, not a great start to the match. Here I decide to bring in all 4 of my Red Blasts. I remove 2 Deep Analysis, a Snap, and the Sage's Rodenizen. The Deep Analysis might be too slow, so I brought them out. Alright, we'll play a land. I think we'll probably fetch a red. Yes. And then just start killing their things. Okay. Now we'll grab our Plains, Ponder, C2 Sunscapes, which is great. Put them on top. They're going to bash in. And they ninja. So I'm in a good spot here. I can play my Familiar and Blast. They have a Miscreant. I'll Deep Analysis. Basically, I'm expecting them to have a counterspell, and I want to kind of burn them out of them in that spot. Vapor Snag, the Sunscape doesn't matter that much. They play a Morph. And if you guys haven't ever seen this Morph in a blue deck means that this is the guy that's like a Gush on a stick. So they can unmorph it by returning 2 islands to their hand, and they draw 2 cards. Which we do see them do. Fathom Seer. They're getting in, and I play Muldrifter. They don't have a counterspell in hand, so that's good, but I had a Prohibit backup. I'm just going to hold up my 2 Prohibits here. They go for the Sunken City. I'm going to prohibit that for sure. They spell Stutter Sprite, and I have a second prohibit. So here the game is basically won for us. I'm going to go ahead and bash. Play a second familiar, and then flicker, holding up a blue. I'm doing this because I want to draw some cards, and I can definitely hold up my Mystic Sanctuary to get my flicker back later. Now I get my islands online, and my Mystic Sanctuary will draw my other flicker. They go for the Sunken City. I'm going to not respond here. Just maybe they have a way to deal with my red elemental blast, and I don't want that to happen. It ends up making my Mold Drifter and my Seagate Oracle bigger, so it's not like they have really good attacks anyway. What? Okay, so they go for a Vapor Snag. I don't know what it's targeting here. It seems like it's targeting the land, so that doesn't make any sense. But anyway, I'll blast it, and they're done with the game. So here, we basically keep the same sideboarding and run it back. I'm going to keep on the strength of this blast here and my snap. They have a turn 1 play, which is not great. I'm going to preordain. I'll just grab the second red blast and leave the mnemonic wall on the bottom of the deck. No ninja's great. So I end up getting to play a mountain and then blasting and then snapping their Slither Blade. They're going to get in. I'm holding up my blast in case they ninja. At the end of their turn, I'll go try to kill their Slither Blade, and they have a response. So now I'll kill it, ponder, get another blast, play my Boilerworks. They're down to 4 cards in hand. They go for this Aether Adept to bring their dude back to their hand, and I'll just kill it and then evoke a Mold Drifter to draw more cards. So I have this Mortuary Mire to rebind that Drifter. I decide to just play out a Mold Drifter here rather than grabbing the red blast back. They go for an Adept to return my Mold Drifter. I think they're trying to feed in as fast as possible, but that's just giving us a ton more value. So what are we going to do here? So I'm picking up a land. I'm going to snap their creature. Now I have an extra mana floating. Play Mnemonic Wall. Get back Red Blast. Blast their 2/2. And I can block their Fairy Seer. Once I have Mold Drifter out next turn anyway. They go for a lot of creatures, and I have Mold Drifter with Flicker on Mold Drifter Wall. Get back. I'm basically just getting back Red Blast, trying to hold up interaction. They go for the Sunken City. I'm going to take 4 this turn, or 6. I'm nervous that they have some way to counterspell my Red Blast, but they go for the second Sunken City, and now they're Hellbent, and I can start running away with the game. I have to deal with these before something else bad happens, so I'm going to get my Godfarrow's Faithful, play out a Seagate, hopefully draw into something good. Island is decent. I'm holding up a Prohibit here. They have to pay the upkeep cost on the Sunken City, so they can only play 1 spell, which I definitely have the counter for. They're going to bash for 4. I'm not dead this turn or next turn because I have enough. And I'll play out a Familiar, get back Mold Drifter, play Mold Drifter. So I decided to evoke the Mold Drifter in case something good happens, but we don't have a way to flicker it right now. And I'll just evoke a Mold Drifter again. I'm trying to draw cards, figure out a way to deal with these Slither Blades. Take 4 again. crack for island. Now I get my Sanctuary, which gets back Flicker, and I'm in a really good spot because I can just play my Seagate Oracle, get back Flicker, and do all the shenanigans. Bash. I'll get back Red Blast right now. Blast the Sunken City, and then hold up Prohibit. Yes. So wait for them to have to pay the upkeep cost, and then blast the Sunken City. And then I think they concede there. They're too far out of the game. Alright, match 5. Can we do the 5-0? We're against Dragon 7k. I'm going to keep this hand even though it doesn't have a second land because I have two cantrips, which can be sketchy, but I end up drawing into a Boilerworks and then ripping a Plains. So when you're good, you're good. I'll get the Ash Barrens, pick up the island. I end up discarding the Ash Barrens. I would normally have discarded the Sage's Road Denizen, but this deck, Mono Black Control, sometimes has Bajuka Bog's main, and I didn't really want to get rid of that right now. I like all those cards. I'm holding up Prohibit because they're land light. And then I'll play Sunscape Familiar, still holding up Prohibit. They have a Geth's Verdict. I'll counter that. And then on their turn, they have another Edict. And they have their Bajuka Bog. So I'll play my Faithful, evoke a Muldrifter, and then put it back on top. They have a Phyrexian Rager. I'm going to snap their Witches and play a Muldrifter. Probably should have tapped this here, so I would have had white open. They kill my Muldrifter and put another Bog down. So I have Faithful into second Muldrifter. They have a kill spell again. Okay, so they caused me to put a land on top, so on my upkeep I'm going to shuffle for a land. Hopefully not draw one. I end up drawing a land anyway. But I can Mortuary Mire back my Muldrifter and then cast Deep Analysis with Flashback. They're pinging me with a Combine Witches, which doesn't affect me that very much. Here comes a Thorn of the Black Rose. So they finally get their Monarch online, but I'm at 32 cards in the library and they're at 41. So unfortunately, Monarch doesn't really stand a chance against the draw power of this deck. And I draw into a Familiar, Wall, Flicker, so we're about to power through. I play the Muldrifter flickering the island, and then I can just play the Mnemonic Wall and get back to Flicker. They keep getting in, but we still are way ahead on life. I'll get back my Muldrifter, playing another Muldrifter, flickering, drawing, so you can see things are getting really out of hand. I'm playing the Sage's Road Denizen just because I want to get my WinCon online. But right now we can either attack them until they die, since they're pretty low on life, or we can slowly mill them out. We don't have a second Familiar for the Flicker Infinite Loop, but we can just keep playing creatures and milling them a bit. I'm not too concerned about milling out a Chainer's Edict here because I have so many creatures on board that I can just get rid of. I'm still flickering my Wall and my Muldrifter. They have a response, but I have a counterspell in hand. And it looks like they call it quits here. Okay, game 2. I'm going to keep this hand because I have white mana and blue mana. I have a counterspell, and I have some guys to sacrifice or just get me value. Go for the plains. I'll play Faithful, get an island. Chitting Rats, put back a land, play another. I'll play the Familiar and then hold a Prohibit. Prohibit can get the Defile, and they defile it anyway. I'll Mortuary Mire for no value and then play a Faithful. They end up wrench-binding me, but I get to discard 2 Deep Analysis, which is a huge game for me. I'll Deep Analysis, play Familiar, pick up my Mortuary Mire. Unfortunately, they have another wrench-bind, so my Mortuary Mire is off the table now. I'll start drawing more cards with my Deep Analysis, and then I'll play out my Sanctuary tapped just because I want to be able to Deep Analysis a lot more next turn. Deep Analysis again twice. I'm a little bit nervous about Bojuka Bogs coming down, so I want to keep flashing it back from the yard as quick as possible. I get a Sunscape Familiar, Muldrifter. I'll play the Muldrifter and snap it. They defile, I have a negate, and they have no response. So now I can just play the Muldrifter again. And ponder. I'll keep some cantrips, but put the land away. There's Sign in Blood, digging for action. So they Bojuka Bog me. I can attack, and then just start cantripping for value. Right now I have the Flicker Sanctuary combo online, but they have 1 mana open, so I don't really want to play into a Defile. I grab the Mnemonic Wall, getting back a Preordain, and then I'm going to hold up my Flicker, I believe. Yes. Basically just don't want to get got. They have a Grey Merchant, which gets him more life and stops him from dying right away. I'll swing in and Preordain. See a second Familiar. Now I have the infinite combos online with Ghostly Flicker. So if they tap out, that'll be the game. Or if I draw a counterspell, maybe. So I draw a Prohibit. I'm going to swing in. And let's see if I go for it. Alright, so I Flicker Wall Muldrifter. They don't have a response, so I'm just going to start drawing cards, playing out creatures. I did side out my Sage's Row Denizen this turn, so all I need to do is just hold up a few Drifters and a few Prohibits, and I can just swing in a couple times and they'll be dead. They see that the game is lost and they concede. And that's our 5-0. Alright. So we swung in again for another league. Here we are. I'm going to keep this hand off of, I have all 3 colors. This mountain is not super helpful game 1. Opponent leads on a Bojuka Bog, so they could be mono black control maybe. I will go ahead and fetch an island. Now they play Boros Garrison, so I'm pretty sure that they're Boros Monarch. Get my Deep Analysis and put a land back. So they're just kind of dirtling. Okay, so against Boros Monarch, I basically want to just hold up their Prohibits for their value birds and not let them get anything from that. Because I get concerned about the 3-minute Inspector, but I can block that for days. And now the Core Skyfisher is certainly going to eat a Prohibit. Grab an island. Here I'll play a Familiar into a Seagate Oracle. Grabbing the Faithful. I want to make sure I stall out as long as possible. They get a value bird down, which isn't great, but I can drop a Muldrifter, or I can go Faithful into Deep Analysis. I choose to go Faithful into Deep Analysis to try to gain as much life as I can. I draw a Sanctuary, which is good, and a Mnemonic Wall. Decide to Muldrifter and then pick up the mountain. They kill my Muldrifter, so they're bashing in for 4 a turn. I draw a second Faithful, which is starting to negate their attacks completely. Prohibit is great here. I'll preordain. Drawing another Faithful. Deep Analysis, and hold up Prohibit. I'll discard the Mountain for sure. They Battle Screech, which is not good. They've got a lot of flyers now. They're dealing me a lot of damage. I'll go ahead and counter this Inspector here because I don't want them to have all the cards. Mnemonic Wall, get back Prohibit to kill my wall. Still got the Prohibit though, so Sanctuary, get back Cantrip. They have 8 power in the air, but I have my 3 Faithfuls, so I can play 2 or 3 spells a turn and negate it. They're swinging out. We'll go to 12. Alright. I'm digging here for a familiar. Decide to play the Muldrifter to try to block these birds and hold up a Prohibit for a burn spell or something. Swing out again so I can eat a bird. The opponent plays Prismatic Strands to keep their birds alive. That way they're dealing as much damage as possible every turn. It makes a lot of sense. I'll Ponder, get another cantrip, Ponder into Mortuary Mire to get back a familiar, and then I will play Seagate Oracle to get my familiar, play the familiar. Now Prohibit only costs 1 mana, and we'll sit back, kind of turtle up here. They're swinging in, and we're blocking. So flashback Prismatic Strands keep dealing me a bunch of damage. Down to 10, which isn't great. I'll Prohibit the Core Skyfisher to stop the value. I'll cast Mnemonic Wall to get back Prohibit. Muldrifter. Now we drew into another familiar, so okay, the opponent has conceded. If we draw into a flicker here, the game would be over. Against Boros Monarch, I've taken out 1 Snap, 1 Seagate Oracle, and 1 Deep Analysis for Nature's Chant, Dispel, and Negate. I'll keep this because it has a turn 2 Prohibit and a Preordain for a cantrip. They get the Prophetic Prism, and I'm definitely going to hold a Prohibit. I get to Prohibit the Core Skyfisher here, which is awesome. And now we didn't draw land, but we preordain into 1, so we can hold up the second Prohibit. They Glint Hawk, and I'll Prohibit again. But they have a Core Skyfisher. So they got through our counter spells. We're going to play Sunscape Familiar and then just play No Value Mire. I considered, okay, so we'll Dispel here. I considered negating the Prism, but usually there's a backup. Here we drew into another Prohibit, so I can just Deep Analysis and pick up the planes. So the Battle Screech lines up really well with my negate. I can negate the Battle Screech. And then play Faithful, Deep Analysis. Seagate Oracle draws a familiar. I'll hold it up. I don't think I want to counterspell this Draven Inspector. I'm just holding up my Prohibit for their birds. They get a Battle Screech off, which isn't great for me. I'm going to go ahead and kill their Prism here, just in case they are leaning on... okay, they blast. I Prohibit. Okay, I'm going to flicker. Draw another Seagate Oracle. Seagate Oracle gets me a snap. Doing a bunch of things. Drawn to Sanctuary. There's just... the balance lands make it so that the snaps accelerate you dramatically. I end up chanting their prism to try to take them off of the Glinthawk bouncing. They're swinging in for 4. We don't have a lot of faithful life gain, so that's not super good. I can snap my Secret Oracle and replay it. Drawing into a Mnemonic Wall. Mnemonic Wall, I probably should have taken the Flicker here, but Mnemonic Wall actually, so I prohibit, Mnemonic Wall gets back Snap, Snap gets back Mnemonic Wall, and that's an infinite loop for infinite life. And my opponent concedes to it. Very kind. That's a very long loop in Magic Online. Alright, match 2, we're up against Henry Ford. They play Windsguard Crag, so I'm up against Boros again of some kind. Secret Away means Boros Bully here, so I will grab my planes, play my Faithful, and drop my Chancery. I'm not going to block. They could just Lightning Bolt here. I'm going to snap it for sure, untap, and then let's see. I decided to go for the Deep Analysis. I could have held up Prohibit for their Seeker. I can Sunscape Familiar and hold a Prohibit and snap. I'll prohibit that. And they go for another bolt and I'll snap my Familiar. I think in this matchup you just want to like try to keep them from rallying you out. So I'm drawing cards, play another Faithful. I'm holding up Ghostly Flicker in case they can get me. I'm seeing that they had 5 mana coming into this turn, so they could have double rallied me, which would have been very bad. Okay, they're going for the Battle Screech. That means we probably have a rally coming up. Next turn I can actually drop my Mnemonic Wall and snap their Secret Away. But I Flicker here to try to save some life, so now I probably want to get back my Flicker. Let's see what I'm going to do. Come on, replay. Alright, so I believe I can do something where I just play the Mnemonic Wall and get back snap their things, and go off from there. But I ended up winning that game. Alright, game 2. I'll keep... Oh, I mulligan. I guess I didn't have enough action there. Playing turn 1 tap land. I'll go for get the planes and then play Ponder right away. Alright, so I decide to grab the Chancery because on my turn 3 I'm going to go ahead and Nature's Chant the Relic and then play the Chancery. Opponent has the Palace Sentinels, which this early is very good for them. They can really gain a lot of value. I'm going to Seagate Oracle, grab a snap here. I think maybe I can snap something if they leave it open, and then get in for the Monarch, but they decide to kill my guy. I'll snap their bird, untap, and draw and land a Muldrifter, and flicker it. So that gains us a ton of cards. really cannot block here. They kill it. I get to Sunscape Familiar. Considering whether I should mnemonic wall back the flicker, and I decide to do it. Luckily I did because they have their relic out. Seagate Oracle draws me a flicker, so, and they've tapped out, so I can flicker and get back, put flicker in my hand, put Nature's Chant on top, and then I can flicker Seagate Oracle to draw the Nature's Chant to kill the relic, putting flicker on top. But here I actually think about going for a loop where I could try to get like back snaps and snap all their guys, but I actually don't have a Mole Drifter to do it. So I end up, wow, the replay broke again, but I end up redrawing into the Nature's Chant and then killing this, and then over the next turn getting into a Mole Drifter loop where I can snap all of their things and they don't have a way out of the game. Alright, game 3 was against Amoros 27 on Boros Monarch as well, so that's not on this machine, so we're going to skip it. Game 4, we're up against Luchanagar. I have this, okay, so we see they're on Affinity, and I recognize their name. I thought maybe they'd probably be on Affinity. Here we're going to just grab a Plains, because I want to get my Faithful down as soon as possible. Play the Plains, play the Faithful, play the Chancery, pick that up. They're compassing, so this probably means they're on ATOG shift or something. I'll play my Familiar, play Ponder, play my Familiar, and then hope they don't kill it. They play Gear Seeker Serpent, which here is great because we have our snaps in line, and we can snap it and immediately play a Mole Drifter, grabbing a island. They Preordain, play a Tog, play Gear Seeker Serpent. I'll go ahead and try to gain some life, play a Chump Blocker. I'm holding up Ghostly Flicker here. They play Witching Well, they're out of cards completely, and they bottom. And here they're going to just draw the cards and swing out just there. So I'll just block and flicker the Mole Drifter and the Seagate Oracle. It's okay to lose the flicker here, so I just want to get as many cards as possible. Alright, the replays broke here, but we're a bit ahead in this game. We can keep snapping their dudes as long as we keep drawing more rebuy effects like walls or the Sanctuary. Alright, so this is Affinity. We sideboarded it exactly like we were hoping to. We take out 4 Deep Analysis, 1 Sage Zoro Denizen. I'm bringing in 2 Blue Elemental Blast and 2 Gorilla Shaman. Hopefully we can draw the Gorilla Shaman in an appropriate time frame. We got our red mana, we got our white mana, we got some cantrips, we got some snaps. I'm definitely keeping. I'm going to lead on the blue land in case they have a turn 2 Tog. They do not, so I will fetch a Plains and Preordain. Familiar, definitely going to grab. I'll lead on the Familiar and then hold up Blue Blast in case they shoot it. They shoot it and I blast. And they have a Dispel, so that's dead, but we got a couple of spells out of their hand. I'll play a Seagate Oracle, getting a Prohibit for sure, and then picking up my Plains. Already have a Flicker in hand, and they kill that guy too. So we're burning them out of cards pretty fast. They play Clark Clan Shaman, which I was surprised to see, but it can wreck our board. So they're a bit behind already, so I snap their Clark Clan Shaman, and I'm going to hold a Prohibit. No, I snap it, play the wall, get back blue blast. So if they replay it, I can just counter it. They go for a prism, compass. They don't replay it. I preordain, and then I'll hold up all my interaction, grabbing an island to try to get the sanctuary online. They're just trying to draw cards. They muddle, getting a Tog. I have the blue elemental blast for that, so I'm not super worried. I'll go ahead and sanctuary and get back a cantrip. They play Witching Well. 2 cards on top. I preordain. See Gorilla Shaman. We did it. Play the Gorilla Shaman. They only have 3 lands in play, and they know I'm going to blow them all up, so they concede. Alright, game 5. Or match 5. I'm going to keep this. I don't have any white mana, but I have 3 lands, and I have 2 cantrips. And we're on the play. I'm going to bottom and then top the Prohibit. Don't really know what they're on. This looks like some sort of Delver deck. I'll hold up Prohibit. I considered playing Sanctuary into Preordain, but I was pretty sure they had a Force Spike. I go to Prohibit the Delver, and they do have a Force Spike. On my turn, I'm going to Preordain. I draw into a Chancery, so I'll just play that out. Next turn, I can probably just Deep Analysis. They'll start taking beats from the Delver, unfortunately. Play Deep Analysis. Draw back up to 7. They're still getting in, and I still don't know if this is blue-black Delver. Okay, but then as soon as they play the Spire Golem, I know it's definitely just regular mono-blue Delver, and they've completely tapped out for it, so we have options to do stuff. Here I'm going to immediately play my Mole Drifter. I'll bin the Boilerworks. When they attack, I'm absolutely trading here. Puts them on a much slower clock. I will attempt to play a Faithful, and they have a Spellstutter Sprite, not good. But I will play a Seagate Oracle looking for more action, draw a Flicker, play the Sanctuary. They're getting in for 3. Play a Miscreant. I'm going to Sanctuary, get back Prohibit. Sorry. And then I'm going to draw the Prohibit with the Deep Analysis. I'll play the Familiar, actually. Okay, so that's a little bit more tricky play. So I'm playing the Familiar. They play Counterspell. I flicker the Seagate Oracle and the Sanctuary. I'm going to put the Sanctuary trigger on the stack first so that I draw my Prohibit first, and then the flicker goes on top. Draw my Prohibit. Flicker on top. Counter the Counterspell. My Sunscape Familiar is in play, and then I can draw. I could draw with Deep Analysis, but I'm a bit low on life, so I'm not going to do it out of the yard. Okay, they have a bunch of open mana. I'm going to try and draw my Faithful. So I'll Deep Analysis to draw it. They have a Counterspell. I'll play my Mole Drifter out. I don't think they have another Counterspell, and they do not. I know they have a Snap in hand. They go for the attack. I'll take 2. Now they play out a Spire Golem, and all they have left in their hand is a Snap. So now I can just play around that. Play Mnemonic Wall, getting back Prohibit. Now I can just flicker my Mole Drifter for value. They snap, and I can Prohibit. So now after this resolves, I can flicker my Mnemonic Wall to grab the Prohibit back, and they can't really do anything about it. I take the more greedy play of just drawing cards. And preordain. So at this point, the game is very, very, very in our favor. They're still beating in for 4 turn, and I'm not even going to block. I draw another Faithful, so now I'm gaining a bunch of life. Very out of range of their attackers. Second Familiar is great. I don't know what's in their hands, so I don't really want to just play out my Flicker into a counterspell. Play Muldrifter, and I'll double block here to kill their Golem. I draw a third Familiar and a third Faithful, so now I can just draw all the cards. I go for the Ghostly Flicker to see if they have it, and they don't. So now I can just start comboing and put them. I decide to, I believe, draw some cards. And basically at this point, we can do anything we want. I snap their guy, play, draw some cards, get my Prohibit back, and eventually I'm just drawing more cards, seeing what I can do. I eventually draw into this Sage's Rodenizen, so now we have our infinite combo here. I tap all of my islands for blue, and then I can just Ghostly Flicker targeting wall and island, which gets the island untapped. I'll pick up the Ghostly Flicker and do it ad infinitum. So we don't have to have the Mystic Sanctuary in this case to just keep drawing our Flicker again, and that will be the game. Game 2, I decide to bring in 4 Red Elemental Blast. I'm going to trim 2 Seagate Oracles, my Sage's Rodenizen, and a Snap. I don't need the Sage's Rodenizen to win here because I can just, if I can out life gain them, then I can just beat them with Muldrifters eventually. The name of the game here is to be patient. So I draw into a second Faithful. I'm going to get my planes as soon as possible. If they have no play, I will hold up Prohibit. I'll just prohibit the Miscreant to see if they do something. They don't. I'm just not going to do anything either then. I don't want to get my Faithful countered. They go for the Golem. So now I can go Faithful, Faithful, Snap, evoke a Muldrifter. So you've gained a bunch of life and drawn some cards. And here we draw into Red Elemental Blast and some red mana. So the Coral Net here is annoying. I decide that it's actually important enough to get rid of it. So I'll cycle for my Red Elemental Blast and kill it. I want to have all my life gain online because that's how I win this match. Draw my cards because the Relic's out. Don't want to deal with that. Preordain. Just keep drawing Muldrifters. That's all I want. Opponent replays their Golem. I go for the Mire, getting back my... So here they had 2 open mana and the Relic. I go for the Mire to get back a Muldrifter, and they decide to crack it in response, which means now they don't have a counterspell or a spell stutter sprite up, so I can play a Muldrifter. Draw into another Red Elemental Blast, which is really good. They're pondering. Another Golem. No blocks from me. I'll play another Muldrifter. See if they respond. They do not. I'll still hold up my Red Blast and play a tap land. Trying to build up my island count to get Sanctuary online, and they know that I'll block here, so they're not attacking. Preordain. Draws a Familiar, which is exactly what we needed. Familiar. I'll play Seagate Oracle. I'm trying to cycle through my deck and get as many cards as I can. Now I draw my last island and my Sanctuary combo is online. So on my turn, I can play the island, go for a Deep Analysis, play another Faithful. I'll just hold out. There's really no reason to press it hard. I'll go for the Flicker on the Muldrifter to see if they have a response. They do not. They decide not to respond, so I'll draw my Flicker again. Okay. And then on my turn, I've got Mnemonic Wall and Flicker and Red Blast, so they don't have anything they can do, and I win the game. So that's 5-0 number 2. That's 10-0 in games. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.